You crave carbohydrates, you want sweets, you want chocolate, and you feel like there's something wrong with you. And I'm here to tell you that there is nothing wrong with you. There are really good reasons why this happens. And I hope that today you are going to just feel a sense of relief and ease and freedom, because you are going to realize that this isn't your fault. And in fact, what's happening is totally normal and natural. But before we dive into the juicy details about periods and premenstrual symptoms, etc., let me introduce myself. My name is Catherine Metzelaar. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive eating counselor, and I am here to help you create a more peaceful, free relationship with food and a relationship with your body that is less filled with shame. I come here every week to deliver videos to you, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment as you watch it. You definitely want to take a listen to this. Okay, so I already know that you've been here many times. It's that time of the month, it's premenstrual time, and you just can't stop craving carbohydrates. And you just keep thinking, is there something wrong with me? Maybe you look up articles on Google, how do I fix this? How do I resolve this? What's going on with me? And you just get stuck on these loops and in these cycles of trying to figure out how to fix the problem. So let's talk about what's happening and why you might be having cravings premenstrually, and then what are some things that you can do to resolve what's happening. Remember that premenstrually your body is preparing for all kinds of things that are about to happen, more specifically the shedding of the interior of your uterine lining. And so there's extra demand on your body. Your body is literally needing more fuel from food, because that's where we get energy, to do all the things that it needs to do when it's preparing for you to menstruate. This also applies to when you finally do have your period. Your body literally needs more energy from food in comparison to other times of the month. Something happens premenstrually that is related often to the craving of carbohydrates, which is our serotonin drops. And if you're familiar with serotonin, it generally helps us to feel good. And when that happens, when our serotonin drops, our body naturally starts to crave carbohydrates. But why and how is that connected? So the precursor to serotonin is actually tryptophan. And we often think about tryptophan as something being in turkey that we eat and take in during Thanksgiving time, at least here in the US. But actually we get a significant source of tryptophan from the grain-based carbohydrates that we have. And that's important because we need that precursor, the thing that comes right before it, in order to make enough serotonin to support our body. So when we have that drop in serotonin premenstrually, it makes sense that our body naturally starts to crave more carbohydrates, because it's like, hey, wait a minute, we have a drop here and we need to address this, so let's get some more carbohydrates on board so that we can make more serotonin. The last piece of this is that diet culture really likes to demonize the experience of needing more food on certain days. It essentially tells you all the time that you need to be eating the same thing every single day in the same amount for the rest of your life, really. And we know that that's just not how human bodies work. Your energy needs, the amount of food that you need, the calories from food, will ebb and flow throughout the month, throughout the year, and that's all totally okay. It's an indication that your body just needs more fuel and more energy. Not to mention that if you've been dieting and restricting and been stuck in patterns of disordered eating premenstrually, this is a really common time for people to feel like they just can't withstand the restriction, partly because there's so much biologically, physiologically, that your body is telling you that it needs carbohydrates. It's sort of yelling at you at this point because it needs it to do all the things that I mentioned in order to prepare for menstruation. Okay, so now that you know some of the reasons why this happens and why, first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Third of all, it's not something that you need to fix. Let's talk about some things that you can actually do to help support you premenstrually so that you don't feel like you're crazy and out of control, and or don't get stuck in cycles of binging, which is a really common experience premenstrually. Okay, so the first thing I want to recommend is that you actually eat carbohydrates. I know, groundbreaking, but this can be really helpful. If your body is telling you that it needs carbohydrates, it means that you need more carbohydrates. There are all kinds of biological mechanisms in place, physiological mechanisms that essentially make sure that you're getting enough carbs. One of them, for example, being neuropeptide Y. It's a brain signaler that'll let your body know when your carbohydrate intake is low, and then it increases carb cravings. So when this is happening, this means that actually you need more carbohydrates. And so this is a place that you would start. Intentionally include more carbohydrates generally and also specifically premenstrually because your body is needing them. The next thing that I would recommend is for you to really challenge that voice inside of you. Maybe it's a diet culture voice or maybe it's somebody else's voice that says that you should be eating the same amount every single day throughout the year. Remind yourself that your needs will ebb and flow, that you're not doing anything wrong, and that when you have those cravings, it's an indication that your body is trying to communicate something to you, most likely that it needs more food. And remember, premenstrually, your body is actually needing more. So allow that to happen. Allow yourself to eat more. Allow yourself to have more energy intake, more caloric intake, not just during this time. Of course, this can apply to any time, but especially when you're preparing to menstruate. So in summary, premenstrual cravings are actually totally normal. They're not something that you need to fix. What you do need to do is recognize that this is something that your body is doing to help you out. It is on your side. Your cravings are normal and natural. It may be an indication of the serotonin drop that you're experiencing. It may be an indication that your body needs more fuel, which we know that it does. And it doesn't mean that anything is wrong. And that this could also be an indication that you are restricting and dieting, and that you may want to take a look at the ways that that's impacting you, because most certainly people that are engaging in chronic dieting or are stuck in disordered eating most certainly have more intense cravings premenstrually. Okay, so if you like this video, if you can relate to it, comment below, like this video, share it with others. I know that a lot of people experience confusion around what happens to them premenstrually, and I really want to demystify that experience and normalize that experience. So I hope you like this video. I will see you next week, and take good care.